Hey everybody, welcome to our next video project, which is going to be creating a chalk pastel drawing inspired by the art of Kahn, who's an American artist, and he just passed away this March at the age of 92. He's an amazing pastel artist as well as an oil painter, and his main subject is trees, landscapes, barns, the outdoors. So he's what you call a color field painter. And what that means is in his pieces of art, the main thing that he wanted to convey is a mood or emotion using bright colors. So, for example, his work would be perhaps things that you recognize like barns, trees, rivers, hills, and meadows, but they would be very weird colors. So, for example, here's a few. Here's one. I really love this one. This one actually shows the tops of the trees, and as you can see, some of the colors in this piece are somewhat colorful in terms of being colors that you might see in nature, but then other parts aren't, like the blue tree trunks. Here's another one that I really love. Right? It's a little bit interesting. Definitely some brighter colors here than what you would see in real life. But, you know, one might think that this is perhaps a different season than this one. So, what we need for this experiment is we need some chalk pastels. Here's a set. I've pulled a few of them and put them here on my easel. We want to have some sort of dry paper towel. I've used this one already, but I'm cool with using it again. Or a rag, something dry like this, a towel that is devoted to art. I use masking tape, and so for, oh, by the way, you can use sidewalk chalk for this as well, or just regular chalk. It's fun to have a variety of colors. So for my surface here, this is actually a paper bag that I've cut up and repurposed for art making. So what's cool about this project, you want to use some kind of paper that has a tone to it, which means it's not white. You can use white paper, but it's more fun to start off with a different color. So if you have construction paper, that there's enough of a texture on that paper that you can use chalk pastels on that, and it will pick up the pastel really well. So you want paper that has what you call a tooth to it, is something that just has that rough feel. So paper bags are perfect. And we're going to get started. So, first, what we want to do is we want to create a color field, right? So, we want to start off, in the spirit of Kahn, I'm going to pick 3 colors, and I'm going to just do 3 bands of color across the paper. So, again, going back to this example here, you can see this one actually has 3, 4, and possibly 5 bands of color. I'm going to start with 3. Maybe I'll decide to add a 4th one. And I'm just going to go across the paper. So let's see. I'm going to blend it here. Then next, I think I'm going to choose something real different. And for the top, maybe I'll do deliberately choosing colors that aren't natural, just because I want to kind of try this and get something really interesting for a result. And I always go back and use natural colors if I prefer to have a scene that looks a little more like real life in terms of the colors of things. Taking my paper towel, blending it in, and the great thing about pastels is you can blend them and draw right back on top of them again and keep doing that over and over. So I'm going to add another strip right here at the bottom. The option, ooh, that's pretty actually. I'm going to add some of that blue up in here. that makes sort of a purple with the magenta color. I like it. I like it. Alright. So, I'm going to revisit that part at the bottom and give it a little texture, I think. For now, I'm going to add my tree trunks. So we've laid the ground, which is called the behind part of where your subject would be. It's going to be the background. So let's see. I'm going to use teal for my tree trunks. So really, you don't have to think of these in terms of trees. You can just look at them as vertical lines. So these are just vertical lines. Some are thicker than others. And the thicker ones, you want to have come lower on your paper because they're going to look like they're closer to you. And the thinner ones, you can start a little higher on your paper. And I'm not really worried about the tree canopies right now. I'm not really worried about whether they even have leaves or not. I'm just going to worry about the tree trunks right now. So I'm going to just fill my paper with them. You can leave spaces, of course. You can decide how many you want to add. Maybe you want a more minimalist approach and you don't want to fill your whole paper with trees. But I'm going to do a bunch of them, I think. And I'm going to have some of them much bigger. And at the top, I'm just going to kind of let my pastel kind of trail off. I'm not going to worry about capping it off and stopping it like that. And I'm just going to kind of let it be really loose and free. I'll worry about that later. This one's going to be lower. All right. I'm going to have some closer together and some further apart, just for variety. All right. Now, I want to focus on kind of creating another detail that really reinforces that these are trees. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a couple of, more than a couple, of these little marks to the side of the tree trunks higher up on the paper. And these are going to represent the branches. And I encourage you to look up Wolf Kahn's work. It's fabulous and it's beautiful, and there are so many different ways that he represents trees and landscapes, but with these branches, you'll see these in a lot of his work. And they're kind of blurry, and sometimes he puts these he blends colors on top, so you can't always tell what's going on, but the effect is really neat. And I love chalk pastels because you can just keep blending. You're never stuck with what you have. They are a little messy, but you know. Messy art's the best art. Okay. That's a start. Alright. Simple tree landscape here. Now I want to go back and I want to add a couple more pops of color just because, just for the heck of it. And so I think what I'm going to do is take a green and add a little bit of a green just to suggest nature. You definitely don't have to have green. I'm going to put a little bit in here, and I'm going to just do some sort of squiggles to suggest grass. Definitely a suggestion. It's not super obvious what it is, and to me that's okay. I like art that asks a question more than art that tries to answer questions. Does that make sense? Maybe we're getting a little philosophical there, but that's cool. I like this green in here. It kind of pops it a little more. It's just a little bit brighter. It's kind of getting dark, which is fine if it is. But there's a little kind of bush there. All right. Now I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to add a little bit of highlight up here. And I'm not actually sure what color I'm going to use. Maybe a lighter blue. Maybe something lighter. Let's see how this goes. I like that, yeah. Because if I didn't like it, I would just do another color on top of it. Also, I could just blend it all in and start over up there. This is a fun, loose project. You can do a ton of these. Maybe you represent different seasons by the colors that you choose. Again, using recycled materials, paper bags, cardboard would be a good choice as a surface to make art on. You can really use a lot of different things. And again, try sidewalk chalk. Maybe you do one of these really big. Maybe you do one of these on the sidewalk. Why not? That'd be kind of cool, actually. So I'm doing a bunch of different loose, wispy branches. And as a final touch, I'm going to do one little line on the side of some of these trunks to look like a highlight. Maybe makes it a little 3D. I'm not doing it on all of them. Gives it a little bit of 3D-ness. And as a final touch, maybe I could go back at the bottom here and add a little more if I wanted to add any little shadows or low lights, but I actually kind of like it the way that it is, so I think I'm going to just maybe leave it alone. And then I'm going to sign my initials. And voila! I've created a chalk pastel tree color field landscape inspired by Kahn. We love Kahn. We celebrate you. Thank you for 92 years of art inspiration. Have a great day.